To understand Hosni Mubarak, you have to start here, with his predecessor, Anwar Sadat, who in 1979 signed the Camp David peace treaty with Israel. That handshake on the White House lawn enraged Muslim radicals, who believed Sadat had sold out Arab interests across the region. In protest, many centrist Arab governments broke diplomatic relations with Egypt. 2.5 years later, while President Sadat was reviewing a military parade with then Vice President Hosni Mubarak sitting next to him, Muslim radicals in the army had their revenge. Sadat was assassinated, Mubarak wounded but survived to be sworn in as president. That was October 1981. Mubarak grew up in the Nile Delta, graduated from the Egyptian Air Force Academy and rose rapidly through the ranks. When Egypt and Israel went to war in 1973, he was Air Force commander. His military prowess made him a national hero. When he came to power, Egypt was the pariah of the Arab world for signing that peace deal. Mubarak went on the diplomatic offensive, quickly improving relations with his Arab neighbours.
I consider peace is not something impossible, but it's a noble gift to the people, to the human being.
For nearly 30 years, Mubarak was a regular guest of American presidents. He was an ally of the West in efforts to contain al-Qaeda, and Mubarak collaborated in repeated US efforts to broker peace deals between Israel and the Palestinians. Here with President Ronald Reagan.
The exercise of the right to self-determination cannot be denied to the Palestinian people.
Self-determination back home in Egypt, though, was another matter. Mubarak's presidency was reaffirmed 3 times in national voting, but by law, no one else was allowed on the ballot. After US pressure, a supposedly open election was held in 2005, but international observers complained the balloting was rigged. After contesting the election results, the number 2 vote-getter was arrested, charged with forgery, and sentenced to 5 years hard labour. That punishment earned the Mubarak government a strong rebuke from the White House. The alternative, Mubarak's government hinted, was chaos, and Egypt's painful history of terror attacks meant little was left to the imagination. From Luxor in 1997, when more than 60 people, mostly tourists, were slaughtered, to the resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh in 2005, where 88 people were killed. Like a cat, Mubarak seems to have had 9 lives. He survived multiple assassination attempts, including an attack by Islamic extremists on his motorcade during a 1995 visit to Ethiopia. When Mubarak came to power in 1981, he inherited a country torn apart by economic and political differences. Islamic idealists and radicals wanted a Muslim state. Secular moderates wanted a Western-style democracy. After the fall of Saddam Hussein in Iraq, US pressure forced Mubarak into grudging change. More freedom of expression, newspapers allowed to publish articles critical of the government, and economic reforms that brought strong economic growth. But this interview from 1981 may offer a hint at Mubarak's cautious approach to change.
Look what happened in Venezuela, I think, in Morocco, in Algiers, in Tunisia. They tried to make tough reforms. The people, they are human beings. They didn't accept it, or they couldn't accept it.
Hosni Mubarak's presidency came to an end during the 2011 Egyptian revolution, when he was forced out of office. He had finally relinquished his long-standing control over the Egyptian people. The revolution, a defining moment not just for Egypt, but for the Arab world.